Hi everyone, I'm attorney Aiden Durham with 180 Law Co. in Denver, Colorado, and welcome back to All Up in Your Business. In this episode of All Up in Your Business, I'm going to talk about some things that people commonly think are trademarks, but which are actually not trademarks. And specifically, I'm going to talk about this in the context of clothing designers and clothing apparel companies. But before we get into it, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to check the description for some links to additional information and resources too. I would also like to thank our very special partners for this episode, our friends over at Surfshark. This, by the way, is a trademark. Surfshark is a VPN or virtual private network provider that goes far beyond what you would typically expect from a normal VPN service provider. I'm sure you've heard me talk about VPNs before and how important they are, especially for business owners when it comes to protecting data and our internet security and the security of our clients' and customers' data as well. Of course, VPNs help to protect your privacy, and they can help you get around internet blocks in certain countries. I used a VPN last year while I was traveling through China for a couple of weeks, and it was the only way that I could access any of my Google products, Gmail, YouTube, any of that. I also love using a VPN when I'm planning my vacations. And y'all know I love a good vacation. Did you guys know that airlines and travel websites will give different prices depending on the location where you're searching? It's true. So with a VPN like Surfshark, you can price compare and shop these different providers in different countries to make sure you're getting the best prices on airfare and other travel. But my absolute favorite thing about Surfshark VPN is that it allows you to access shows from Netflix and other streaming services that aren't available here in the US. I, for example, love binge watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but Netflix in the US doesn't have Brooklyn Nine-Nine. You can't get it here. So all I have to do is fire up the Surfshark app on my smart TV, connect to a server in the UK or in Canada where they do give you Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and then refresh my Netflix connection, and voila, I can now watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine as well as all the other shows and content that isn't all available in the US. So visit surfshark.deals/AUIYB and use the promo code AUIYB to save 83% off of your subscription and get 3 months free. Surfshark has a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there really is no reason to hesitate on signing up today. Don't forget, that's surfshark.deals/AUIYB and use the promo code AUIYB, as in all up in your business, to save 83% and get 3 months free with Surfshark VPN. All right, let's get this party started. So before I tell you about things that are not a trademark, a little quick background on what is a trademark. A trademark is a word, phrase, symbol, design, etc. that is used to signify the source of a product or service. A trademark is a mark that is used in trade, in other words, in a business, to identify and distinguish that business's goods or services from those of another company or their competitors. So the important part there is it's a mark used in trade. A few examples of trademarks: the Surfshark name and logo, as we already discussed. When we fire up our Surfshark app or visit the website, we see that name and we see that logo, and we know that what we're purchasing is coming from this source, Surfshark. Nike. This is a very well-known trademark. When we see this little swoosh on the front of a piece of clothing or on the side of a shoe or some other article of clothing, we know that this item came from Nike. And this lovely Tiffany blue box. Yes, that's right. Tiffany's has a trademark, not just on their name, Tiffany's, also on the color blue and the blue box itself. When we receive a very special gift from that special someone and it's handed to us in this lovely blue bag and we see this beautiful blue box, we know this most likely came from Tiffany's unless our boyfriend's trying to pull a fast one on us and is just tricking us. But most likely these came from Tiffany's and that's what we're about to get. So those are all trademarks. They are marks which tell us where we got these products or services from. So then what's not a trademark? The most common thing that I see where people getting confused about if this is or not a trademark is when it comes to clothing companies and clothing designs. So here's a common conversation that I will have. Hi, Aiden. I created this really awesome design that I want to put on the front of t-shirts and sell because I think everyone else is going to love this design that I created and I want to put it on shirts. But before I start selling it, I want to get it trademarked so it's protected and so other people can't steal my design. Nope, sorry, that's not a trademark. You can't just create a design, stick it on the front of a shirt, and call it a trademark. That's not how this works. So special shout out to my friend at Timberlake Law on Twitter. If you don't follow him, you should. His Twitter feed is full of fun, interesting, and sometimes mind-blowing or mind-boggling trademark examples. And most of these that I'm about to talk to, I got from him. So here's a fun one. This application for this trademark was recently filed. They are seeking registration of this trademark in class 025 for various types of clothing and apparel. This is the specimen that was submitted with the trademark application. Remember, the point of the specimen is that it's supposed to show how the trademark is being used in commerce in connection with the sale of those goods or services. This specimen simply shows us that there's an image that's appearing on the front of a shirt. This use, putting this image on the front of a shirt or on the front of a sweatshirt or any other product, doesn't tell us where that product came from. It doesn't tell us anything about the source of that product. It's really just a design that we're sticking on a shirt. And unfortunately, that's not a trademark. It's a design that's being used as decoration on the product. It's not being used as a source indicator for the product. And this type of trademark is most commonly referred to as ornamental. And trademarks which are merely ornamental are not trademarks at all. Ornamental trademarks don't actually function as a trademark. Instead, they are merely decorative features of the product rather than indicating the source of the product. I like to think about it this way. If someone's going to buy your product because the design appears on it, then it's probably ornamental and not actually a trademark. This goes for things like photos, drawings, designs, phrases that you might stick on the front of a t-shirt or stick them on the side of a coffee mug or put them on some stickers. People are buying it because they like the design itself, and that does not make it a trademark. Compare that to an actual trademark where the design or the image, the logo, the phrase might appear on the garment tag on the inside of the shirt or on the care label or on a hang tag when you're purchasing it. Or you might see a logo like with Nike products. You might see a logo on the shirt pocket, or it appears small on the side of the sleeve. We aren't buying those products because we like the way the logo looks on the product. At least usually not. Sometimes people are, but for the most part, we're not buying it because we love this Nike logo so much. We're buying it because this logo tells us that this product came from Nike and we trust Nike's products or we trust that company. And so that's why we're buying that product. Here's another fun example. This was submitted as a drawing and a specimen for a trademark to be registered in class 025 for t-shirts for logos. Well, no, that's not a trademark. I understand what the goal is with this. You've created this really cool image or design or drawing, and you really love it, and you think other people will love it too. Before you sell it and start really putting it out there, you understandably want to protect this unique design that you created. But unfortunately, that's not what this is about. Trademarks aren't used to protect designs or photos or images or phrases in a vacuum. We're not protecting just this design. That's not what trademarks do. It's only when that design or image or word or phrase is used by a seller in connection with the sale of their products or services is when it becomes an actual trademark. Again, at its best, this would be maybe an ornamental trademark, but really based off of how they've submitted this information in the application, it really doesn't even demonstrate ornamental use of the mark. This is really just a drawing on a piece of paper, and in no way does this function or attempt to function as a trademark. But that doesn't mean this photo is completely devoid of trademarks. Look closely and you might see that Nissan insignia at the top. Now, there's a trademark. You get in the car, you see that logo, and you know you're driving away in a Nissan. If this trademark were actually on the front of a shirt, we would see it and think, oh, I like that design. I'd like to wear that shirt. But we would have absolutely no idea where the shirt itself came from. And for what it's worth, it's very bad practice to include somebody else's trademark on the specimen or drawing of your trademark. That's usually not going to work out very well. In instances like this, where you want to create products around a particular design or drawing or symbol or phrase, you've got to really think about how you're going to be using that design. Let's say you've got a design that you want to put on t-shirts and sell to the public. How are you going to go about doing that? In many cases, from the people that I talk to at least, they are going to go to one of these apparel websites where you can pick out the type of item that you want, upload a photo of your design or your image, and you can see it rendered on the product, and then you hit order, and that website company creates the products and sends them to you. And then you get to sell them to your customers. In that case, it's actually the website company that is providing those goods, not you. When your customers receive that t-shirt in the mail with that cool design on the front, the t-shirts will most likely have some other company's name on the care label or on the tag by the collar or somewhere within the product itself or the packaging. There's probably going to be some other company, and that's the company that actually created the product, and therefore they're the ones selling those products. You're really just kind of selling the design on a t-shirt, but the t-shirt itself isn't really your product because you're not producing it, you're not selling it. The overall moral of this story is that designs, photos, and phrases are not trademarks in and of themselves. You can't seek trademark protection simply for a design that you create and want to prominently place on a product. If anything, these things are actually more likely eligible for copyright protection. Copyrights protect original creations and artistic expressions. If you create a unique work of art that you think will sell well on a t-shirt, then that's a copyright, my friend, not a trademark. And really, we wouldn't want it to be a trademark. Think about it. Trademarks are specific to the goods and or services with which they're registered. So if you create a design and put it on t-shirts, at best, you'll likely have a trademark registered in class 025 for different types of apparel or clothing. That means, in theory, somebody else could use that same or a similar design on completely unrelated products because your trademark protection really only extends to the goods or services with which you are using it. A copyright, on the other hand, applies to the creation itself and has no distinction for how it's used or the types of products it appears on, none of that. The copyright protection prohibits use of the design in any form by any other person aside from the copyright holder. So then the big question is, what do we do if we actually want to start a clothing or apparel line and we have a unique design or image or phrase that we want to use with that clothing or apparel line? Well, we have to make sure we are using it as a trademark. I typically recommend doing this by including the trademark on the label on the piece of clothing or on the care instructions, or you can attach a separate hang tag to the product, which has that logo or design or that phrase, whatever the trademark is, or you can have it appear on the product packaging, something like that, or on product displays. But the idea is that we're using it in some way that's actually functioning as a trademark, and it's not just a design that shows up on the front of a shirt. That doesn't mean you can't have the design on the front of a shirt. It can be used in an ornamental fashion, but it can't be merely or solely ornamental. So if we've got the design on the front of a shirt, but it's also on the label or it's also on the garment tag, then that use is acceptable as a trademark, even though the front of it isn't necessarily a trademark. The idea is that your customers need to know in one way or the other that this product, not just the image on the product, is coming from you or coming from the trademark. So the important takeaway here is that inventing or creating a design or image does not typically result in a trademark. In many cases, it's actually copyright protection which applies. So if you have an image or design or a photo or phrase or something else that you're interested in registering as a trademark, I highly recommend that you consult with an experienced trademark attorney before you start this process or go about doing it on your own. Because a trademark attorney will, number one, be able to tell you if it's actually a trademark, and number two, they'll be able to help ensure that the trademark registration will ultimately be successful. I am, of course, happy to assist. If you are looking for help with trademark registration for your business, you can check out my all-inclusive trademark registration package, Brand Bombshell, where I do every step of the process for you. Or if you're on a tighter budget, check out Brandish, DIY Your Trademark Application, which is my on-demand webinar that teaches you step by step how to prepare for, complete, and submit a trademark application with the USPTO. Check the description to find out more about those. That's all for this episode, folks. Please drop a comment below. Let me know what you think. And again, don't forget to check the description for links to some additional information and resources. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm Aiden Durham, and I'll see you next time.